So I know that you've actively used simulation technology for some of your learner populations. Can you tell us a little bit about the areas of the business where you have been using simulations?
Theresa and I really did see the promise in immersive scenario-based simulation with data. And we saw the promise in terms of it was scientific based, so there's a learning science behind it. It's innovative, it's learner-centric, and it's outcomes focused. To Declan's point, it's really about being able to see and demonstrate skills and behaviors that our workforce needs. We also believe that our learners could benefit from this method and the technology, and it would actually enable them to make mistakes in a safe environment, learn and grow in those situations that they really do face every single day in their work. And from a business value, we thought our business could benefit because we saw the promise of the quantitative data. So the quantitative behavior change and the data that we believed we were going to be able to see to make decisions on how to best remediate, reinforce skill areas where we were able to see there were common mistakes being made in the simulation. I'm going to let Theresa share a little bit more about how we thought about the business areas and some of our logic and our approach.
So as we saw those promises that Jen just described, we really took an experiment, test, and learn approach. And we initiated a few proof of values, particularly in 3 specific areas. One of our first proof of values was around technical capabilities, and it was in one of our manufacturing sites in biotechnology. We're focused on critical aseptic mindsets and techniques. This means lost batches, which are costly for the business. So there was a strong business case. And as we spent a lot of time in face-to-face training to ensure good aseptic behavior, we were still seeing that there was a significant opportunity for improvement that we believed this technology could help us close. The second proof of value we took on was in soft skills. And this was our own L&D practitioners. We had just put in a new operating model in place, which required our team members to work differently together. And there were both mindset and skill set shifts that were important to transitioning to this new model. Specifically, we focused the simulation on critical skills that have high impact on our people's ability to be able to performance consult and align with the business in what we call our discovery phase, and in the early portion of our learning creation phase, where we analyze and blueprint our learning experiences. We thought it was really important also for us to take a bit of our own medicine and really experience the technology ourselves that we were looking to leverage and utilize with our clients. It also enabled the L&D organization to get familiar with this technology that we were testing so that they could be able to describe it to our clients. And then the third area, much to some of the conversation earlier, was in diversity and inclusion. And this was an off-the-shelf program that ETU had already built for us. The first 2 were custom that we built. The D&I was important because it's a highly important and valued aspect of our culture. And much of our D&I work had been awareness-based, and we really felt like we needed the opportunity to give our employees a chance to get in there and really challenge their mindsets and skills with these immersive simulations.
Again, these were real live experiences with this method and this technology. In fact, we found that the production time was significantly decreased, including the SME review time. And as I'm sure everyone can imagine, usually you need to be very, very conscious of the time that you're taking from an SME because you are taking them out of their work. As for the measures, you heard of it, again earlier, the simulation itself generated very rich data and analytics for us, and we felt we could make so many more conscious and well-informed decisions on behalf of our people, but also on behalf of how we invested the company's time and money. The key is to identify those metrics and measures from the beginning, and we did that on each and every proof of value. In the case of the Sims we did discuss, we were very clear before we got started on the problems we were trying to solve for, and we were also very clear on what good needed to look like in terms of the skills and the behaviors and what was the most optimal decision and why was that an optimal decision so that we could reach the results that you saw. I'm going to let Theresa jump in. We have a few other pieces of advice that we would offer based on our experiences.
And I would just tag onto that and say that as you develop the simulations, really work with your subject matter experts to ensure that the choices you provide, the optimal, the suboptimal, critical, suboptimal, are nuanced, right? So they're, oftentimes we've all taken the more static simulations where it's the multiple choice test. It's so easy to figure out which one is the right answer and which is not. You really want that nuance that really drives the point you're trying to drive and the behavior that you're trying to drive. But it really brings out the subtlety that truly makes a difference in real life when you're driving a behavior that would make the difference in success or not having success. And that learning drove such great dialogue because it was in some of those subtleties that folks came back and said, well, it wasn't wrong. No, but it wasn't awesome either. It wasn't the best choice. And then we got into some really good discussions and even more importantly, behavior change because it really stuck. So I'd say don't shy away from simulations, but be sure you have the right capability to ensure the value of them as you're building them. And we haven't. We're in our next simulation that we're building right now and really driving a broader use case in our organization for this capability.
Do you have certain metrics that executives have shown particular interest in? Stumbling over my words today.
Theresa, you should.
So for sure, the statistic that our executives were most interested in was the reduction in seat time. 15 times faster catches a lot of eyes. And when you're delivering training to 70,000, the salary dollars add up quickly and you start to really count real dollars or at least opportunity cost in terms of what you can save the organization. But I will say it was a balanced equation. They were as interested in the employee engagement. And so what a win-win. You've got faster, you've got employees engaged, and then the thing that really topped it off, and these are our three metrics going into our broader business case. The third one was, and oh, by the way, we're shifting from a check the box sort of awareness to really see how folks would demonstrate on the job in a real setting, in a scenario that has real consequences, but in a safe environment. So it was sort of the triple win, which really had this business case move at quite an accelerated pace in our organization.